All right, folks. We finished up the second debate
Finally.
this week.
Good Lord.
These things are so long, way too long. CNN, do something. I mean, turn these things. You don't need 3 hours for that nonsense. There's a lot of repetitive stuff. But we're going to try to boil it all down to you in about 10 minutes or so and give you the highlights, tell you what you need to know so you don't have to sit through 3 hours and torture yourself like we just did.
Yeah.
We started tonight. They were still under the circle Betsy Ross flag.
Right. Very racist.
Very racist. But tonight, they all put their hand over the chest, and Joe Biden was even singing the words to the national anthem. I think he was the only one, but good job, Joe. We didn't know that any Democrats. That's right. I didn't know that any of them actually knew the national anthem.
I wasn't aware of that either. All right, tonight was the night of marquee matchups. Last night was billed as Warren, Sanders, and we didn't get it. Tonight, we got it. There was conflict. It was lighthearted, but we saw. As far as
entertainment value goes, last night was a snooze fest. There was nothing going, and tonight we actually got to see a few fireworks and a few things going on. I was excited. I didn't know that Samuel Jackson could quite sing like that. The national anthem. That was a good opening. It was interesting. But we should probably move on from that one.
Yeah. Anyways.
Barb's, the fireworks. What was most exciting? What was the most exciting part of that for you tonight?
Most exciting or most
interesting?
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I think everyone's coming in. How Kamala hit Biden hard last time. How is it going to respond?
Yeah.
Biden said he was going to be normal, Mr. Geisa, and he actually did it. I thought he came out as the overall winner in this debate. He hit Harris back hard, and we saw Harris stumble.
I think that's good commentary because while neither of us is cheering for Kamala, we're not cheering for Biden, we're not cheering for really anybody on the stage there other than maybe Yang a little bit because he's the most interesting guy that's up there. So we're not cheering for either one of these, but as far as politically speaking, Biden's going to do real well tonight. He secured his spot as the top guy. He remains. Nobody was able to topple him or get him off his game, and he came out instead of last debate. He decided that the thing to do was to sit back and not attack Kamala and not go after her and kick gloves. Basically, that was the wrong thing to do.
Failed miserably last time.
He did. Tonight he came out. He counterpunched, and it was so effective because she looked flabbergasted.
She did.
She didn't have a stellar moment tonight. She didn't have one of Last time she had a cool story that was touching with every one of her. She did well. Yeah, and she did horrible tonight. I mean,
she excelled as like the underdog last time. It kind of came, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but just got him by surprise. And this time I feel like she had the target on her back and a lot of everybody else went after her.
It is true.
She didn't just get hit by Biden.
I shouldn't say everybody, but at least two went after her. We saw Bennett went after her at one point and was very effective. She was stuttering, to be honest, and unable to come back. And then later on, Gabbard out of the blue, and she drew blood.
Whatever kind of good ambush moves Gabbard learned in the armed forces, she was pulling out of the hat tonight.
She crushed Kamala in a way that clearly caught her completely off balance. She was flabbergasted. She'd lost her. She's gasping for air on the stage there, literally.
No defense for herself.
Yeah, exactly. And all it was Gabbard, listing some of the things that went down in California while
state defense.
Yeah. So that was kind of the interesting part of it. So who do you think was the big? Again, you said Biden. You think is a big winner. Anybody else on there that had really good nights?
I mean, I think Gabbard had a good night, as well as you can be in kind of the single issue candidate. I feel like her big thing is why I was a soldier. But I felt like she got good blows on Harris, and I felt like overall she looked good. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I would say she's a decent winner. I find it hard to pick anyone else as a specific winner because they all got hit with something. Like Cory Booker, I thought looked good until he got creamed by Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, as mayor. He did. He crushed him, and unbelievably so, Booker wasn't ready to be attacked. He didn't know that anybody was going to attack him, so kudos to Joe Biden for going after him, particularly on his record as mayor of Newark, and saying, gosh, you hired one of Rudy Giuliani's guys, and you had a police force that was out of control. Crime was out of control. You arrested as many more black people than anybody you have a part of. And Booker had no comeback other than I can't believe you said that. I can't believe you said that about me.
He had no factual comeback. I felt like I will say he handled it better than Harris, because Harris got attacked and she just kind of stumbled and it was obvious she was falling apart.
Right.
Booker stayed smiling and all this whatever he did, but he still got hit hard.
I thought Castro had a good night for Castro. He's extremely far left. He's definitely from the AOC category. He wants to decriminalize illegal immigration. He wants to open the borders. He wants free health.
What borders?
He wants the Green New Deal. He wants the whole 9 yards.
Ridiculous.
But he came out swinging, and I think he was more effective than Booker was. Perhaps he makes a jump. I don't know. He offered a lot of red meat. I don't know if he's got what it takes. So.
I'm not sure. I don't feel like his whole repeal Section 1325 went over that well. He did get some flack for that.
Well, this is the thing: is he's dancing around calling it repeal Section 1325 or 1335, whatever it was. It basically says it's no longer a crime to come across the border illegally. He's for decriminalization, and they don't want to say that because they know they'll lose. They lose the voters in America, especially in Detroit, if you come out and say, "Hey, we're opening up the borders, bringing in the illegals," because they're going to come take your jobs up here in Detroit, and they don't want to hear it in Detroit, to be honest. So
everyone wants to hear it.
Well, nobody anywhere in the country.
Countries have borders.
So he's trying to disguise it, calling it, it's an obscure statute that nobody knows the number on, and thinks he's clever by mentioning it. But most of them, again, a lot of those people that were up there were ones that were raising their hands, saying, "Oh yeah, we want to pay for everyone's health care."
Let's talk about who's the biggest loser tonight. I think we both have a name in mind.
Yeah, I would go with Harris because she had such momentum moving forward, and so for her to take a step back again, she drops down from top tier candidates back into second or third tier potentially.
I don't think she's go back to third tier because she's definitely got chances to come back because everyone she's in the conversation now.
But I'll tell you what people should have seen, and that's that she has the inability to take a punch. She got a glass jaw, politically speaking.
Tonight she did.
Yeah,
you see what happens next time.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You're right.
So I think that's bad. But I think you're saying which 0%er completely blew their chance of ever getting on the stage again. I would throw a couple names.
Kirsten Gillibrand.
She's horrible. She's horrible.
Poor lady.
She's completely unlikable, and she gets on and I did this, and I was amazing, and I have such white guilt, and my white guilt and my white privilege is so. It's hard to take. It's really hard to take. It's oppressive just to hear her talk.
What she said was kind of lame, and she'd ask the question, be like, "Oh, what?" and then just kind of ramble on about something half related. It was
twice
lost
tonight.
Self-awareness of what was going on
Correct.
around her.
Twice tonight, she was asleep when they went to her. Said, "Senator Gillibrand, would you like to say something?" And what? Huh? Where are we? And that's unacceptable as boring as the debate was. You got to do better than that if you're actually on the stage there. So she's going to be gone. Bennett, forgettable.
His mouth is so shut. He just talks so slow. He's just.
I would like to explain that I think Donald Trump is a very bad prison guard. Anyway,
I'd rather watch a wall of paint dry. That's equivalent to the entertainment value of listening to.
All right, and I look at a guy like Inslee. I don't think he'll be back. I don't think he makes a next round.
Single issue
candidate. He went on and on about the existential threat of what about? Did they ever talk about terrorism? When you look at the number of lives that are lost due to the war on terror, and particularly the Muslim terror groups that are out there, these are people that are killing people every day, and this guy's worried about the temperature rising another third of a degree or whatever over the next 10 years. Yeah. It's insane, and he comes across as though no, I got to tax you $20 trillion.
We got this big pile of molten aluminum in California.
Oh my
that's
God,
the end of the
such
world.
So molten aluminum. Right. He went on. And like that. If everyone had seen the molten aluminum, they would understand.
They all try to give these like so cute little personal sad stories, and that one was one that just kind of seemed a little weird to me. I thought
the Mueller stuff. They came out. They didn't even ask everybody, but they went down a list, and I think they got 4 out of 5 who said, "Yeah, we're for impeachment. We need to go for impeachment."
Yeah.
They really lost that on that earlier, just last week. These guys are a little bit tone deaf, I believe, to be bringing that back up, and yet that's the red meat that the left side of the party, the lunatic fringe side, wants to hear. So
I think everyone with their head on straight realizes that this whole Mueller thing is not what the Democrats hoped it was going to do. What are they supposed to say? Like, yeah, we kind of lost. We're not really going to be able to do that. Like, they got to feed the base with what the base wants to hear.
And they're also, all of them seem to be detached from reality. When they talk about the economy, they were given a number of questions about the economy, and every one of them seems to be unaware that the economy is actually doing
very well right now.
Pretty well right now. That's going to be hard for these guys, and so immediately they would change subjects and say, "Well,
yeah,
there's at least I know one guy who's not doing well. I'm sure there's somebody who's not.
Of course there is. There always is.
There's going to be somebody, but by and large, they seem to be unfamiliar with the fact that again the GDP is up, wage growth is up, the number of people working, the percentage of people working, and particularly in the Latino communities, the Black communities. It's way up. It's skyrocketed. Everyone's got a job. I should say everyone's got a job who wants a job, but most people do right now because the economy is really doing well.
Right now, the opportunity is such that if you are a responsible person that wants to work and makes good decisions, you have a very, very good chance of finding a job.
They went back to the racist thing again tonight. Don Lemon went back. Our president said a lot of racist things, and he's an extreme racist.
Feeding the base again. It's lemon the meat.
It's lunacy, though, that you can say that without any repercussions. You're just throwing around. I guess I don't recall even a Democratic group being that unhinged and detached from reality. I just don't recall it. I've seen things gotten dicey between the groups, but I've never seen it at these levels. So.
Should we give a minute to Andrew Yang? He's a guy that we haven't really talked about much tonight, but he's been here. He was, I believe, 4th in the polling. Interesting guy. I was disappointed that he didn't branch out into other issues very much. Every time he got a chance to speak, he pretty much brought it back to universal basic income, which is his popular thing, and he got a lot of applause. He seemed quite popular. I like his speaking style, but I'm not quite sure where he goes from here.
Yeah, my thoughts are that the Democrats still have a rigged system, and they're going to rig the thing however they need to in order to get somebody like him off the stage.
Yeah.
Because, I don't like his solution. I don't think it works. It's interesting, though.
He's an unorthodox guy, and I think we both like that. And he seems to be a critical thinker, even if he's got this big idea totally way off. He seems like the kind of out-of-the-box guy that a lot of people would like. At least I kind of like him.
I like the fact that he's out of the box, but his what he's recommending though is more big government, just in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
And so from that standpoint, I'm like, nah, I've already tried all the flavors of socialism we have as a country. We're disinterested. So I don't think he's got the solution, but I would like to hear him debating head to head with a few of these other people. They can't get onto that level where they're actually talking about the intricacies. They all start throwing out numbers. I'm going to spend $30 trillion, and I'm going to spend $800 billion for this and $400 billion on that. Yeah. So they're spending it in different ways. It's just that Yang is saying, I'm going to spend the money. I'm going to hand it to every individual, which again is blatant pandering. But it's interesting at least.
I mean, before we, I think we're getting close to being done. The last thing I want to say is I want to give some thanks to CNN. It's probably the only nice thing we're going to be able to say about CNN in a long time, maybe ever. But I felt like they actually didn't rig the debates like NBC did.
Right. They didn't have their thumb on the scale the same way.
No, they kind of gave everybody a chance, and they really made them answer tough questions.
Yeah, I'll give thumbs up, particularly to Jay Tapper. I think that he probably did better than the others. But the other ones even asked some interesting tough questions. They refused to follow up when they were being evasive, and but they were still at least some decent questions. They caused some. again, tonight's entertainment value slightly above last night. 3 hours though of this nonsense is way too much. Looking forward there to being fewer people on the stage, because giving de Blasio a chance to talk about anything is like I'd rather take a bullet to the head. I'd just be like,
sounds about right.
yeah. And I think that's how I feel about most Democratic debates. But we've given you the straight scoop on the whole thing, so that you don't have to sit through 3 hours. Listen to the Keith and Karl show, and you'll
We'll catch you next time.
That's right. Thanks for joining us.